What's up gamers, Sergeant Wookie here with another Gaming Australia review. We've been lucky enough to get our hands on a copy of Kojima Productions' latest release, Death Stranding, which has recently debuted on PC with a significant upgrade to 4K resolution, running at a smooth 60 frames per second, alongside some other PC exclusive content. Now, as a fair warning, there will be some spoilers in here for the first 3 of the 14 episodes, which essentially are the tutorial and introductory segments of the game. The storytelling in Death Stranding is an amazing experience, as opposed to just another lacking campaign that is becoming more common in modern gaming. Without spoiling too much for those who have yet to try it, Death Stranding features not only compelling gameplay, but a complex narrative threaded into a deep and twisting story.
Chock full of chiralium, but safe for you Dooms guys to wear.
All set on the backdrop of a highly interesting world based around the themes of technology, connection, and life after death. But that's not all there is to see in Death Stranding. In this alternate future, the world as we know it has been utterly destroyed by the so-called Death Stranding event.
An explosion. That will be our last.
In which the worlds of the living and the dead have somehow collided, resulting in the deaths of billions and near extinction of all life across the planet. The dead now walk the earth in the form of invisible BTs, entities from the other side that seek to drag the last of humanity across the border between worlds. Even the environment has become hostile, as the sky is now permanently wreathed in clouds of a newly discovered element called chiralium, blocking the use of aircraft and communication with satellites in orbit. The rain has changed too, now resembling the golden goblet from Indiana Jones, rapidly aging anything it touches through as yet unknown means.
Rain, floating rocks, golden handprints. That's your trifecta.
The world's governments are no more, and the surviving remnants of humanity are separated and disconnected.
America's history.
Sam, America isn't dead yet.
You take the reins of protagonist Sam Porter, who has been tasked with reuniting the fragmented United States into an envisioned United Cities of America.
Humanity's best hope for the future. Or avoiding extinction, if you prefer.
Ironically, through the use of a new chiral network that seeks to utilise the dangerous chiralium element and newly discovered beaches to facilitate instantaneous movement of information. But you are not completely alone. With you for the journey is BB, otherwise known as a bridge baby, an unborn child that sits on the border of the worlds of the living and the dead, and as such can see the BT entities from the other side. Along the way, Sam and BB will be helped by an ever-increasing cast of interesting characters, with some outright weird and at times jaw-dropping character arcs.
My name is Fragile.
The majority of Death Stranding is centred on 3 simple words: accept, deliver, repeat. Sam is a porter, which basically makes him your Amazon delivery driver if Amazon sent people with a 200kg backpack to climb a mountain in a mechanical exosuit. But it really doesn't come off as being busy work like you'd think. Each delivery has a purpose behind it. Delivering cargo is used to enhance your relationship with the various settlements you encounter, and in doing so unlock new upgrades, weapons, vehicles, and more. All of this is tied to a reward system of likes that feels like a comment on the state of today's social networking as much as it is a reward for completing tasks within predefined grades of success. These likes are overall worthless in a monetary sense, but they do factor into the limited online aspects of Death Stranding, much in a similar way to Souls games. You and other players can place structures and signs in each other's game worlds, which will then appear in both within regions you've successfully connected to the chiral network. If you loved finding a climbing rope at the top of a cliff when you forgot to pack a ladder, you can leave some likes for the other porter, which will be added to their total pool of likes. In addition to the mostly useless likes, you also earn levels in 5 categories that help shape your experience. For example, delivering larger loads or heavier cargo will see your delivery volume rating go up, with each 10th ranking adding a new skill like being able to carry more weight, altogether making you a more effective porter with the more work you do. The courier grind through the introductory settlements is even woven into parts of the narrative as well, one example being in the closing of episode 2 with a great monologue from the newly introduced antagonist.
The name's Higgs, so how about it? Aren't you getting tired of the grind? Isn't this what you've been waiting for this whole time? A game over.
Now I love this kind of subtle fourth wall breaking dialogue that Kojima games are renowned for, and it's just one of the many surprises that I'm not going to ruin for you, but let me say there are many fourth wall breaks and Easter eggs that you're going to find, provided you don't skip past too much or rush straight for the finish line.
As we expand the chiral network and recover more past data, perhaps we'll find our answers.
So, we've explored the world, branched a few of the mechanics, and talked about how they are integrated into the lore and the story. But, what's different for PC players? Well, after playing both the console and the PC versions, I can safely say this game is drop dead gorgeous on PC. Many times I found myself stopping for a moment to admire the scenery and attention to detail that's out on full display with this graphical overhaul. It wasn't just the quality of textures that were amazing, but every tiny detail is meticulous. Interactive lighting and bloom, the tiny facial tics and animations of characters, small additions like indicator lights that activate while turning, and the way they handled elements like chiralgrams having a slightly slower refresh rate than everything else in game. It's the culmination of every single environmental detail like this that gets you completely immersed in the game. You really feel like you're part of the world you're interacting with, and that's just great. To top it off, it handles all of this and remains entirely stable. This has to be among one of the most solid PC ports I've played. I completed the entire game start to finish at maximum settings without any major frame rate drops on an RTX 2060 GPU. In total, I would say that I've only had 2 occasions of needing to reset the game in 60 hours of play, both due to some disappearing objects in the world, which wasn't too apparent at first until I had a great view under the map on one occasion. Although I did have these issues, on both occasions I had been playing for hours before the issue appeared, and a quick reset sorted the problem, so no real big deal. Another big plus in my opinion is the menu system ported across from consoles, which is a fairly common downfall in console to PC ports, especially for keyboard and mouse users. I found the default control setup really easy to use out of the box, with the only 2 gripes being the mouse sensitivity and the map zoom using the mouse wheel. The former was a simple adjustment in the settings, but the mouse wheel zoom on the map was a real pain to scroll in and out of, especially when trying to quickly place markers in areas that were filled with other player structures that the cursor repeatedly snapped to. But the best PC bonus is the collaboration between Valve and Kojima Productions for some PC exclusive side missions that give some really funny and very useful rewards, which I am not going to spoil for anyone at all who hasn't completed that yet. Suffice to say, the rewards are going to be the envy of any PlayStation user. Overall, Death Stranding is an amazing, genre-defining title that many wrote off as a shallow walking simulator, but I found this game to be brimming with universe-expanding lore, interesting subplots, memorable characters, and a mix of subtle messages and strong themes thrown together to create an amazing, emotive narrative and a compelling story. This is one title that needs to be experienced firsthand, so go grab yourself a copy, and I'll see you all on the beach.